Hello, and welcome to some more morning yoga from my living room to your living room, or whichever room you happen to be practicing in. And just checking the frame here. All right, looking good. Get going in just a moment. All right, let me say hi in the chat as well. Feel free to say hi in the chat. Always nice to know who's tuning in. All right, I am almost ready. Okay. A little bit bumbling around this morning, getting myself ready. Here we go. Okay. Feel free to gather any props you find helpful. Blocks, blanket, what have you. Just realized you can see a lot of my coffee table right here. Let me see if I can make that just a little, that's a little better. All right, also if you have any requests for today or any issues that you want me to know about, if you're tuning in live now, please feel free to use the chat to let me know. And what else do I want to say? I think that's about it. That's about it. All right, we're just gonna, nice and easy, get our bodies moving. Or maybe not so easy. You know, little challenge. A little heat warming up is good. All right, so we'll take this first moments here to just come to a comfortable seated position. And if that seated position is on a chair, feel free to use a chair. If that's where you are ultimately going to be more comfortable than sitting on the floor, yeah, feel free to use that chair. Also, any notes for me around like sound, or if you can't see me, or just realize, I often adjust these AirPods in my ears, and I don't know if that's audible to people that are watching or not. So yeah, things like that, really, really helpful to get your feedback. Yeah, especially in this context where I'm very aware of what's going on here. Always lovely to know what you're experiencing as well. I think I know who just said hello. Wonderful. Good morning, Sharon. Thanks for hopping on. And thanks for hopping on even though I didn't schedule a thing ahead. Yeah. just gonna pop on and do it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. And you can hear wonderful. That's always good to know. Okay. All right, let's settle in. So in your comfortable seated position, letting the eyes be closed. Okay, bring the hands to your wrist. So above the hip bones, so into the kind of gushier softer part of your waist here. And on each exhale, think of trying to draw the sides of your waist in away from your hands, and that drawing in, giving this gentle additional lift to the rest of the spine above. And I don't want this to I don't want it to make this any harder or any more work. It's kind of a gathering in and up of the energy with each exhale. So if anything, I want what we're imagining these core muscles doing, just making it easier, giving more ease to your seated position. Here. Good morning, Rebecca. I should get like binoculars so I can see the chat from far away. Actually, I have some binoculars somewhere. But please use the chat anyway, even though it means I have to get up, because that's the one line of communication we have. Just let the arms come back to a comfortable position here. Let your eyes open if they haven't already. And we're going to move our shoulders in some circles, taking them forwards, up to the ears, back and down. Again, forwards, up, back, down. Let's go 2 more times this direction. And forwards, up, back, down. Other direction, back, up, forwards, and down, back, up, forwards, and down. One more time, back, up, forwards, and down. All right, stretch the arms out to the sides. Bring the right arm across. Pull the left arm in. We pull that in for an upper back and shoulder stretch. Keep reaching through those right fingers. Okay. You're gently pressing that right shoulder down as you're pulling the right elbow across. All right, open that back up. And pull the left arm across, or whichever one you didn't do yet. And you're gently dropping that left shoulder down, reaching through the left fingers, and pulling the left elbow across. And let that go. All right, I'm going to do one more thing for our wrists while we're still sitting here. If you're sitting cross-legged and feeling you need to do a little switch-a-roo, go for it. All right, hold those arms out in front of you. Your elbows are straight. Okay, you're going to keep the elbows straight as you drop the fingers down. Squeeze and curl them under. And then open up Fingers pull back. And drop it down. Squeeze it up. And down. Up. And one more time. Down. As you're pulling the fingers under here, you're trying to feel this active stretch. The top of the forearms there. And up. Great. Shake that out. Let it go. Come into a tabletop on your hands. As always, feel free to use padding if that's better on your knees. Let's start to move through some cat and cow. Breathing in to arch, belly down, gaze goes up. Exhale, round, push the floor away. And alternate between those two shapes at your own deliberate pace. And let's go one more. All right, sit back on your heels in child's pose. So reach those arms out in front of you. Either let your forehead rest on the mat, or if it's not easily resting there, stack a fist or maybe a prop like a block underneath. All right, and then rise up to downward dog. Up on the hands and feet, really hinging those hips up high. Fingers evenly spread. Your hands on the floor. And notice if your heels are wanting to fall in towards each other. Try to make the outer, the pinky toe edges of your feet parallel to those side edges of your mat. And then shift forward to a high plank. Exhale, downward dog. Forward to plank. And back to downward dog. One more time, forward to plank. Back to downward dog. And from downward dog, let's walk or hop those feet forwards. Get yourself smushed into a forward fold here at the front of your mat. And touch your head, fall out of the shoulders for a moment here. Maybe take a little shake no, yes, and maybe you draw take some neck circles here. What's that feel like? That's different. It's different. And other direction. Yeah. All right, let's just let the head drop down. All right, bring my hands to the hips. Inhale, come up to a long, flat back. So finding some gentle stretch in the hamstrings. Good, so if parallel to the floor is a lot, being higher than that is totally fine. All right, and then let's stand the rest of the way up. Good, all right. Stand on your right leg. Grab the left shin or under the thigh to pull that knee up to your chest. All right, where is that balance there? Good, and just notice how engaged does that standing leg need to be to help keep your balance here. But how much is just the right amount and how much is more than you need? All right, that's some Monday balance right there. All right, take that left knee out to the side and then fold it into Vrikshasana, tree pose. So inner thigh of that standing leg, if that happens, but anywhere lower on that leg, still a tree. Let's reach the arms up and the left knee up and step the left foot way back to a high lunge. So try and be on just the ball of that back foot if you can. I know it might be uncomfortable on that foot, but all the more reason to kind of try and push into that sole of foot stretch. Lots of bend to that front knee. Try and squeeze that back leg even straighter. And then step that left foot forwards to Tadasana at the front of the mat. It might take one step to get there. It might take a few. And let's stand on the left leg and grab the right leg, shin or thigh, and pull the knee up. Okay. What does that left leg need to do to maintain your balance here? And trust that it knows what to do. May not quite be able to manifest it yet, but it knows. Our bodies know. Let's take that right leg out to the side and fold that right foot into a tree pose. And reach the arms and right knee up. Step that right foot way back to a crescent lunge. Front knee bends a lot. Back leg super straight. Just get this where it's going to be less distracting. Get rid of distractions when you're doing yoga. All right. Try and squeeze that back leg a little straighter. Try to be just on the ball of that foot so it's not heel down like a warrior one. It's different and often more difficult to do. It's often a very different sole of foot and hip stretch. All the more reason to try and encourage that body to go into the direction. All right, and let's step that right foot forwards to Tadasana at the front of your mat. All right, so our next objective is going to be to lie down on our belly. We're gonna modified sun salutation our way down. Or if you just want to get yourself on the floor, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Let's inhale, come up to a long flat back. And then place the palms down and walk or hop the feet back to a downward dog. And from downward dog, shift forward to high plank. If you're doing a slow push-up, negative push-up down, let's try to do that for a slow count of 5. Here we go, lowering 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're down on our belly. Reach the arms back along your side. Inhale, float everything up to locust pose, your chest, your thighs, arms, legs lift. And lower down. And then plant the hands to lift you up and back to downward dog. In your downward dog, let's lift the right leg up behind you. And then step that right foot as far forward as you can. So if that's not quite to the hand, just bring the hands up and then shuffle that right foot forwards till you're in your warrior one stance. Or if you are able to get that right foot all the way between the hands, just do that and then come up. All right. So you're coming into warrior one. Similar to that lunge, but your back foot is flat and my toes are pointing slightly forward. So if the front of my mat is 12, my left foot's pointing to about 10 o'clock. All right, and let's bring those arms up. And left glute, firming down into the back of the left thigh. All right, and then downward dog is your next destination. So if you are able to really get those hands down and step that right foot back, right? That's one direction. Yeah, if you need to, maybe you kind of bring that right foot back and then you walk the hands back down. Okay, so it doesn't have to be exactly either of those patterns. Just sort of trying to, give a couple different examples, especially for a, kind of weird move like that. Different bodies are going to require different pathways. All right, so we are in downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's lift that left leg up behind you. Step it as far forwards as you can. So you're aiming between the hands. Flatten that back heel down. Bring the chest up. Okay, so if any adjusting of your stance or lengthening, especially is required once you're up, do what you need to do. Then bring those arms up to the sky, palms facing each other. Good. Shoulders are heavy away from the ears. And what I mean by that is that, it's not going to be the same down as when the arms are down. Having the arms up changes how far down the shoulders can go. But we're not actively lifting them up. So just letting the shoulders have their weight down. And that right buttock is firming down into the back of the right thigh. All right, and then downward dog is your next destination. So whatever that pathway is for your body. And then from downward dog, your next objective is to lie down on your belly again. So you might do that from a really slow lowering push-up. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're down. All right, we're going to do another locust pose. And from a locust, we're going to turn that into Sphinx. So first is squeeze the back, squeeze the butt. Lift everything up. And then bring the elbows down to the floor in front of you, under the shoulders. Your legs will lower down to the mat. Lower the chest down. Plant the hands to lift up and back to downward dog. From downward dog, walk or hop your feet forwards. From that forward fold, inhale, come up to a long flat back. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale to lengthen, then stand all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Good. And whenever we're coming, up to standing from those things, knees can always be a little bent if needed. Maybe a lot bent. All right, so some warrior two sequence next. So let's take those feet nice and wide. So feet are ideally as wide apart on the floor as one of your leg lengths. Right? So if you like to use a prop for this stuff, grab your prop, your block, your book, your water bottle. All right, right toes turn out all the way, left toes in a little bit. Big arms stretch out at shoulder height. Bend your right knee, warrior two. Okay, and then lean over to your right forearm on the thigh. Okay, if you usually reach that right hand lower, not to worry, you're gonna come back to this shape in a little bit. But I want you to just really focus on length, lift and length for this first one. Okay, so see if you can lean on that right forearm just a little less. Maybe it's just kind of like here pretending it's holding you up. Okay, and your buttocks are reaching down and back towards that left heel. Okay, and maybe just bring that right arm up entirely, parallel to the left. You were hardly using it anyway. Inhale, come back to warrior two. Flip the right palm, reverse your warrior. Side bending to your left. Keep the side bend. Straighten the right leg. And tip that over to triangle, Trikonasana. And bend your right knee. Come back up to warrior two. And switch that over to your left side. Right toes turn in a little bit. Left toes out all the way. Setting that prop. If you're using it, stretch those arms out. Bend the left knee. Warrior two. And side angle. Left elbow on the right, on the left side. Good. Glutes drawing in and back towards the right heel. As that left knee shoots forwards. Now try leaning on that left forearm a little less. Maybe use it so little, you can just pick it up. No biggie. And come back up to warrior two. Turn the left palm up and reverse your warrior. Side bending to your right. Keep the side bend straight in the left leg. Good. Tip that over to triangle. And bend the left knee. Lift back up to warrior two. All right. Pivot back over to your right. Turn the right toes out, left toes in a little bit. Good. Set your prop to the inside of your right leg. And step your left foot towards that left edge of your mat a little bit. Bend your right knee. Okay. So now you've come into warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2 with the right leg in front. Okay. So we'll do revolve triangle a little differently. Okay, we're going to do it with our back foot flat and our stance a little shorter this morning. Okay, but if when you hear revolve triangle, you're like, oh, my body really wants to go into, more of this shape, yeah, feel free to listen to that. Okay, right hand to the top of the right thigh, right up into that hip crease. Press down into the thigh. Get a little lift of the chest. Now keep this length in the front of the body as you're straightening the right leg. Keep pressing that right hand into the right thigh. Super long hinge forwards. Left hand comes down to your prop, maybe somewhere on your right leg if you don't have a prop. Okay. All right, reach your right arm first forwards. Oh, block in my way. Or box in my way. All right. Lengthen that right side a little more. Your right hip is pulling back. And then reach that right arm up to the ceiling to twist into revolved triangle. All right, bend your right knee. Lift your chest up. Warrior one. And switch that over to the other side. So first come through center. Pivot those feet around. Right toes in. A little bit. Good. All right. And step that right foot out to the right a bit as you're turning to your left. And let's take the arms up first into our warrior one. So just kind of check in if you feel like you are coming from the same leg base as our first side. Left hand down to the left thigh. Really snug it up into the hip crease. Press down to lift and stretch up. Good. Now keep that left hand pressing into the thigh. It's going to kind of help keep length here as we begin our hinge forwards. Right hand comes down where it does. Good. And reach the left arm forwards. You haven't twisted yet. We're going to take a moment here to get even longer on the left side. And then bring that left arm up. Good. And can you keep squishing that pinky toe edge of your right foot down? Yes. And pull that left sits bone back. And keep pulling both kneecaps up. Good. So imagine if you were to poke one of your quads right now, it would break your finger. Bend your left knee. Let's take both arms up. All right, pivot back to center. All right, toes pointing forwards. All right, setting up for a forward fold. Bring hands to the hips. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale. Start to hinge. And so stay as long as you can on the way down. Good. You can keep the spine long or let it round forwards. Hands might come to the floor. They might come to your prop. Good. And inhale, come up to a long flat back. Exhale, hands to your hips. Inhale, stand the rest of the way up. All right, walk those feet in. Good. Okay. So next, we're going to lie down on our belly. Good. You could just lie down, or we're going to sun salutation our way down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinge forwards. And from that forward fold to a downward dog. Downward dog. Shift forward to high plank. Slowly lower down to your belly. Good. All right, so once we're down here, keep the hands where they are, or if anything, slide them back a touch further. All right, you're going to keep your pubic bone, your thighs, on the mat as we inhale to begin our lift up to Bhujangasana. So keep some bend in your arms. They're going to want to lock out and straighten because that is easier. So keep some bend. Elbows are pulling back. Shoulders are dropping down. Front ribs expanding forwards. And let's lower down. Reach the arms back, turn your head to one side. All right, so next we're going to do a quad stretch on each side. So from lying on your belly, bend your left knee. So if you can grab that foot with your hand, great. Grab the foot. Some options if that doesn't work for you from here. You might come onto your right side. Okay, that might make it more easy to get a hold of your foot. If you are at all near a wall, then find a way for essentially the wall, I need to get even closer, the wall to hold your foot. Yeah. Or don't even worry about grabbing the foot. Just bend that knee, okay? And just focus on pulling that heel as close to your sit bone as you can. Okay? And try and also keep the front of your hip down. So notice if your hip crease is wanting to pop up here. Okay? So this is still a great way to work that. It might even be more useful. So our bodies like to know that we can actively go into these stretches that we push them in. So sometimes it's not so much that we need to grab our foot, but our hamstring needs to believe that it can pull us in this direction. All right, I've been talking for a while. You probably got a pretty good stretch. Let's let that go and switch sides. So bend your right knee. If you can grab it with your right hand, great. If not, maybe the wall helps bring it in. Maybe your muscles just bring it in. Let go of the foot. Okay, bring the hands back to your placement for cobra, a little behind the shoulders. Okay, start to lift your chest up. Keep some bend in the arms. Now, can you bend both knees? You're not trying to grab the feet. You are just gently pressing your chest up and pulling the heels in. So hamstrings are going to have to work here. Let's hold that for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Good. Then lower down. Arms back. Turn your head to the other side. Recenter the head. Let's press. All right. And then let's come to sitting. Feel free to be up on a lift, such as a towel or a blanket. All right. Start with the legs forward, and then bend the right knee. Okay? And take either your left ankle just behind the right knee, good, or they could fully cross foot over knee. Okay. So if this doesn't really, change much in the contact of your sits bones with the floor, this is a great place to twist from. That often kind of like pulls us here, and then we're trying to twist, and that's just super awkward. Yoga, often even at its best, is already awkward. Okay, so, or if you're most grounded here, you've got your left ankle just behind the right heel. All right, let's inhale and take both arms up. Exhale and twist to your right. Your right hand's gonna come down to the floor behind you. So wherever it lands, that it can give you a nice push away from the floor. To stay long as you twist. So a longer spine is going to be much happier twisting. All right, and unwind your twist and switch sides. So planting the left foot, right ankle either just behind it, or they can fully cross. Inhale, both arms up, and fully cross. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, twist. Right arm kickstanding on the floor. Left arm to the outside of the right leg. unwind your twists. Okay. Stretch the legs out in front of you. And then open them up. It's maybe like a couple feet in between the legs. So not necessarily legs out in front of you. And then open them up. It's maybe like a couple feet in between the legs. So not necessarily your widest today. All right. Turn to face your right leg and fold over the leg. This is where you might use a strap. Inhale. Turn to face the left leg. Inhale to lift. Just let's, as we say, you can see. It's going to leave up to you today. You might do your forward right ankle on the left thigh, or you might fully cross the knees, or you might do a little of both. Couple more breaths on this side. Both. Let that go. an unsupported bridge if you so desire. And doesn't necessarily have to. So feel free to make this a supported bridge if you so desire. And doesn't necessarily have to be a yoga block, foam roller block specifically. Foam roller can work if you have one, a pillow, yeah. when that feels right to mount. Video cut off. Okay. Maybe I come back. Thanks, Rebecca. All right, and then lower down from your bridge. Okay. So stretch the arms out to the sides. So maybe into a T or maybe cactus arms with the elbows bent. Keep your feet on the floor and drop your knees over to the side. So they're not really gonna stack as much as usual on the, the top of that left hip. You're still kind of pressing the knees down, but we're not trying to really stack them one on top of each other, as we often do, and which is also a great twist. This just has a little more like oblique to hip, and stretching it over here. All right, and then sway those knees over to the other side, over to your left. Okay, so just kind of having the feet in a bridge position, and then they just kind of roll into it from there, but without leaving the floor very much. Okay, that right knee is still pressing down. It's just not really trying to stack on top of the left. Just kind of put that twist, that stretch in a different place. And unwind. All right. Shavasana is your next destination. So if there's any shapes, final poses, I'm going to throw in a happy baby here, that your practice is wanting to do before we wind down. Take a little detour. And just stretch on out when you're ready. To a comfortable seated position. Palms together at your heart. Thank you all so much for joining in this morning or joining in later. It's not like you have to do yoga in the morning, it counts lots of other time too. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Sharon.